Hello all, here we are going to discuss the properties of nanomaterials. Properties of nanomaterials. We can classify the properties into three main categories. One is optical property and the second one is mechanical properties. Mechanical. And the third one is magnetic properties. Magnetic. Their shape, their surface surface functionalization, their doping, and their interaction with other materials. So, these are the factors which influence the special characteristics of nanomaterials. Optical properties. Okay, one of the special optical properties shown by nanoparticles is surface plasmon resonance. Surface plasmon resonance. Okay, what is the process surface plasmon resonance? Actually, when electromagnetic radiation on interaction with nanoparticles, the conduction band electrons in nanoparticles undergo coherent oscillation. So, electromagnetic radiation interact with nanoparticles. The conduction band electrons in nanoparticles undergo coherent oscillation, and that process is known as surface plasmon resonance. So we can define surface plasmon resonance as the coherent oscillation of conduction band electrons upon the interaction with electromagnetic radiation. Usually this process happens in nanometals. Okay, so we can say this is the property of nanometals. This process, that is surface plasmon resonance SPR, occurs only when the size of the nanoparticle is less than the wavelength of electromagnetic radiation. So, size of nanoparticle should be less than the wavelength of the incident radiation. Then only this process will occur. So when electromagnetic radiation interact with nanoparticles, what happens is these nanoparticles absorb the electromagnetic radiation, then undergo vibrations, then dissipate energy. So all this process occurs on the surface of nanoparticles. That is why this is called surface plasmon resonance. And plasmon is the name used to represent the oscillation of these nanoparticles. Now we are going to learn the relation of surface plasmon resonance with the size of the nanoparticles. Okay, size and surface area of nanoparticles are very much related to the surface plasmon resonance process. So, surface plasmon resonance is effective when surface area is very high. Surface area is larger. So that is the size of the nanoparticle is very less. So surface plasmon resonance is very effective when surface area of nanoparticles are very larger, that is the size is very less. So that is why this process does not occur in normal metals, because the size and the size is very high and the surface area is very less. So this surface plasmon resonance is not common in or not occurs in normal metals. The surface plasmon resonance of nanomaterial usually occurs in visible portion of electromagnetic spectrum. During SPR, based on the size of the nanoparticle, some portions of visible region, some portion of visible region is absorbed by the nanoparticles, and the colors other than the absorbed are reflected. So when size of the nanoparticle is very less, this particle will absorb the blue-green region and the reflected light will be red. But when size is very large, these molecules absorb red, absorb higher wavelength region, and the reflected light will be blue, light blue or purple. So nanomaterials appears as blue or light blue or purple in color. So when size is very high, size increases in a very large extent, it absorbs IR region, and this process occurs in IR region. So the nanomaterial appears as a clear or translucent substance. So it appears as a clear substance. So in normal metal, size is very high. So all these processes are happening in IR regions, not in visible region. The second one is mechanical properties of nanomaterials. Mechanical properties. Almost all the mechanical properties increases because the size of nanoparticle decreases. So all the special mechanical properties of nanoparticles are related to the decreasing size. So what happens when size of particle decreases? Actually, when size decreases, the probability of finding the imperfections is also decreases. Probability of imperfections also decreases. So we can say size of particles is related to imperfections. Imperfections may be dislocations, vacancies, grain boundaries, etc. So imperfections can be dislocations, then vacancies, and grain boundaries, etc. So when these dislocations, when these imperfections decreases, their strength also increases. Their strength, that is nanomaterial strength, also increases. So the hardness and the yield strength of almost all nanomaterials are very high. So hardness and yield strength of nanomaterials is very high. Then next one, what about the tensile strength of tensile strength of nanomaterials. Tensile strength is the maximum stress. It is the maximum stress a material can withstand. This is the maximum stress a material can withstand. Material can withstand while being stretched or pulled just before breaking it. Just before breaking. So, tensile strength is the maximum stress a material can withstand while being stretched or pulled before breaking. And the tensile strength of nanomaterials is very high. Tensile strength of nanomaterial. Tensile strength of nanomaterial is very high. And it is calculated in the range of megapascals. For example, the tensile strength of carbon nanotube is in the range 11,000 to 63,000 megapascals. That means the tensile strength of nanomaterials is very high. Then what about the Young's modulus of nanomaterials? Young's modulus is the measure of the ability of a material to withstand the lengthwise tension or compression. Withstand lengthwise tension or compression. Young's modulus of nanomaterials is also very high. It is in the range. It is also very high for nanoparticles. It is in the range tegapascals. For example, the Young's modulus of nanotube, carbon nanotube, is 1 to 5 tegapascals. Next one is magnetic properties of nanomaterials. Almost all the nanomaterials are super paramagnetic in nature. Super paramagnetic. That is, they shows both ferro and ferrimagnetic properties. Because of the super paramagnetic nature, nanomaterials have a wide variety of applications. For example, it is used in MRI scanning, that is magnetic resonance imaging. Magnetic resonance imaging. And it is used in ferrofluid technology. It is used in ferrofluid technology, etc. So, these two are some important applications of the super paramagnetic nature of nanomaterials. One of the important words we have to familiarize when we study magnetic properties of nanomaterials is Néel relaxation time. Néel relaxation time. So, we said that nanomaterials have magnetic properties. Consider nanomaterials as tiny magnetic particles. So, when the size of nanoparticle is sufficiently low, then with the influence of temperature, these particles can randomly flip their directions. And the time which is required, the time requirement between this random flipping is known as Néel relaxation time. So, Néel relaxation time is the typical time between two flips. This is the typical time between two flips.